The TVK-NDA alliance, it seems to be public denial, but maybe private discussions. That's how politics actually unfolds. April, ladies and gentlemen, is the month of reckoning in Tamil Nadu as political parties are all set to elect a new government. Hectic backroom parleys are going on, and it is evident that all parties, particularly the two dominant Dravidian parties, are taking their time to stitch up alliances. In recent days, what created immense excitement was how the NDA and TVK had almost signed up to fight the 2026 elections together. Even as TVK chief Vijay was facing the CBI over the stampede at Karur that had claimed 41 lives in September of 2025, the political grapevine was rife with how negotiations between the TVK and the National Democratic Alliance have almost entered the final phase. There were reports that the broad-based contours of the impending electoral arrangements have been agreed upon, except maybe the optics of the agreement as to be perceived by the state electorate. This is totally source space, what you're going to see on the screen, and of course shall need tweaking if and when the deal is done. The NDA apparently has offered the party seats as follows. Sources indicate those are on your screens as to what are the number of AIADMK, 125 on your screens. Right now, TVK has been offered 60, source-based, okay. BJP 25 to 30 seats, PMK 15 seats, and the TTV, that is Dinakaran's party, 7 seats. This is source-based. Apparently, the backroom parleys, this is what is working out, the arithmetic as it were. Sources indicate a possible seat-sharing formula under discussion. According to these inputs, AIADMK could contest around 125 seats, like I said, and those are the other seats that I have just listed out. And TTV Dinakaran, of course, 7 seats. This distribution could be the final offer currently being discussed. But then came denials, and from both sides. First up, at the AIADMK's iftar event, Edappadi Palanisamy, who was flanked by BJP State President Nayanar Nagendran and also AMMK General Secretary TTV Dinakaran, denied any such talks having taken place with the TVK when Edappadi was asked a specific question. Let me quote what Edappadi said. He said, "I have already stated that the AIADMK and the leaders of the parties in our alliance have not held any kind of talks with the party you are referring to." Now, 2 days earlier, Nayanar Nagendran evaded the question completely, of course, of the alliance, and instead said as follows: "You are worried about the alliance, and I am concerned about the people's issues, especially the failure of law and order in the state and the lack of safety for women." Now, TVK also shot back and issued a denial, with TVK's Joint Secretary CTR Nirmal Kumar dismissing such talks as mere rumours, and also asserted that the party's virtual meeting with district secretaries, which was held on 13th March, was to only assess the strength and alliance prospect. There is no scope for an alliance with the NDA. We have already made it clear that, the BJP is our ideological enemy. This is what Nirmal Kumar said. You know what? We all know that elections make for strange bedfellows, and for both the NDA and TVK, it's now a question of who shall blink first. Will Vijay be okay to accept Edappadi Palanisamy as the alliance's chief ministerial candidate? And will Palanisamy concur that they need the TVK to surge forward in 2026? Let's debate. We have Kovai Satyan, who's the national spokesperson for the AIADMK, and Bhanuchandar Nagarajan, who's a very well-known political analyst. Vanakkam to both of you. Good to see you back. I want to know first from Satyan, obviously. Satyan, what is this? Will he, won't he, like women do? Does he love me? Does he not? I mean, this is what has been, we need to laugh sometimes, no, Vanu? So, this is what has been going on. They are saying that it is not being made, it's backroom parleys. You want the TVK into the saddle. But then you ask Mr. Edappadi Palanisamy, he says nothing like that has happened. We will stitch up alliances with other, partners, of course. We are still looking at inking the deal. What's going on, Satyan?
So, these speculations comes under your freedom of expressions, the freedom that press enjoys. So, you are free to speculate, and you can challenge any movie house in taking a new movie. So, you are free to have your own ideas. What else can be said? When the leader who is heading the alliance have clearly said, not once but twice, that We have not reached out to anybody and there is no talks. What else can we say for a speculation? I think you are so merciful enough to say that TVK has been offered 80. Why did you leave the balance 37? You could have said TVK wanted 117 and Deputy
Then
Chief Minister
it's source
and
based.
5 ministerial, 5 cabinet berths. Come on, yeah. You have show some mercy on TV.
So are
Why
you
do you restrict them in 80?
so are
If
you
37
saying Satyan that this is complete canards and rumors and nothing like that is going to happen?
Nothing ever has happened. Nobody from AIADMK reached out to them for any talks on alliance.
Right. But
The election code of conduct has come.
kicked in, yeah.
You mean to say that still AIADMK is struggling to form an ally? Already AIADMK has formed a formidable ally.
Sure.
It
Although
is challenging the might of DMK. And DMK ally are in doldrums now.
right.
Just to divert the attention, these are all planted, well planted.
Yeah, but we saw
narratives and
Mr.
stories by the
ANS
DMK.
Prasad also. I mean, not that you're responsible for it, but ANS Prasad being suspended because, he actually offered an olive branch and said very clearly. And you see, the thing is about these kind of mixed messages which go, and there are bites for this. Bhanuchandar Nagarajan, do you think it's a canard? I mean, I respect what Satyan says, he's the national spokesperson, but there cannot be no smoke without fire. I'm sure that, that there have been talks, and I'll tell you why, Bhanuchandar. It's not about so-and-so what Edappadi said, what he said about fascism and about, whatever. I mean, I'm not getting into that past, it happens. I think that Vijay has emerged as a very, very important third front factor in Tamil Nadu. Whether it is the DMK and Congress, what happened with Girish Chodankar, what happened with Praveen Chakravarti, and also whether it's the AIADMK. The gap perhaps between the DMK and AIADMK will be what, 5 to 7%? I do not know. You guys are experts. And that can perhaps be filled if TVK comes on board. Bhanuchandar, your opening comments on this.
I was saying Mr. Edappadi Palanisamy in his comments made a cryptic remark that actually has not been covered well by media, in which he said that the nominations are going to start only by the 30th of March, which means that he still has a couple of weeks of window open for all alliance talks.
Right.
So putting that and maybe Vijay's party, TVK is also playing a hard bargain with the long tweet / post that they have posted on X. So we do not know, but if you take what TVK says at face value, it means that Vijay is playing the game that Seeman is playing, which is basically sticking to an ideology, sticking to his professed beliefs, and he's willing to play the long game and not just this election. So because as of now, this election, his numbers have waned and waxed and all that. So he's not in a position to form the government or even be very competitive to the second position. So that is the situation where Vijay sees himself in, and it is only pragmatic that TVK and ADMK and BJP come together to defeat the DMK. If the combined objective is that. But as of now, we have to wait and see for what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks.
Right. Satyan, there are ideological differences, of course, like Bhanuchandar said. But there are ideological differences which have persisted between the AIADMK and BJP even during the last time, the alliance. But you both kind of balanced it out and worked it out. Tell me something that, how much do you think it will be a great asset? Because electoral politics is not just about egos, who he is going to be the chief ministerial candidate, him saying that he's a fledgling party, not getting into that. We all have to stitch up alliances, like Bhanuchandar said, to defeat a common enemy, the DMK. What advantages do you think you will have in case Vijay says, all right, I will shake hands with you, and I'm not talking about seats 60, 50, 30, whatever. That's up to you. You're the big daddy, you're the big brother, as it were. But don't you think there is an advantage to have TVK on board, Satyan?
Yeah, you want me to spill out the beans now, which has been kept as a big secret so far. But still, anyways, for the betterment of your viewers, let me say, let's assume what is the kind of vote bank Mr. Vijay is targeting, whether he is going to be really make a big impact with respect to inroads. So the survey says that Vijay party is still struggling to make a 2-digit impact in rurals, and they are making a big impact on metros. Now, having said that, Vijay has been now become a beacon of hope for the minorities in Tamil Nadu. So where DMK claims that they are the custodian of minorities are taking a big hit. On the other side, the first-time voters and the second-time voters who are constituting close to 18%, Vijay's party purely banks on that vote bank, which is almost close to 1 crore and 12 lakhs out of 567. So let's take a hit ratio of 50% out of it, which means that the party will land up in a double-digit vote bank, not more than 15%.
Right.
So with these arithmetics in mind, what's happened is AIADMK has forged an ally, a formidable ally with BJP, who has a proven vote bank record based on the 2024 election,
Right.
which was recently. And with another regional player, PMK, coming on board, it has added more strength and might. And with the party being split into factions put to rest, wherein the traitors have not now sought asylums with DMK, EPS has emerged as the single most strongest leader, leading AIADMK. And the rival whom is been thought so far, Mr. TTV Dinakaran, who has formed a party by his own self, has now formed into the ally, has come into the ally, which means that the entire equation and the chemistry of ally is natural because the common minimum program is to end dynasty rule in Tamil Nadu.
Right. But you know, TTV Dinakaran is also a mini traitor. I mean, we know that the kind of, you know, the exchanges which took for Drohi and all those Tamil words were used. But it's okay. Like I said, electoral politics is about defeating the enemy. But you know,
Sudha,
Satyan,
you know better, there is no permanent enemy or there is no
none.
permanent friend.
Absolutely. And everything is fair in love and war, Satyan. Let's smile a bit on that, you know. So the thing is that I want to come to Bhanuchandra. Bhanuchandra, do you think that he says, Satyan says very clearly, 2-digit only. But is it only or 2 digits? The point of the matter is that yes, BJP did very well in 2024, almost 10%, correct me if I'm wrong. It went up and up and up and up slowly, you know. But the point of the matter is that this duo, this combine is still a bit of a risk in Tamil Nadu. We've all seen that. We've seen how it's going to be very difficult even in Kerala, you know, the win. But of course, that's another story. But I'm asking you this. Should the AIADMK be underestimating Edappadi Vijay like that? Because what I know is that the urban youth, much like Satyan said, maybe rural, he doesn't have much of an entry, but I do not know if one can prove it by doing a dipstick. But do you think that we are actually running away too fast with this theory that he's no good?
See, the NDA right now has a floor of 30%, okay, which means, ADMK alone brings around like 20-22%. You have 5% of PNK, 3% of BJP, and 2% of TTV Dinakaran, AMMK, and so on. So I'm talking about the floor, okay. Satyan will be a little upset when I say 30%, it will be more than that, but I'm saying that a floor of 30%, right? And if you add whatever Vijay brings in, that's a definite winning combination. So that is where the arithmetic looks very very attractive, and that's why we are talking about it. But the thing is, there are a couple of synergies that can happen between TVK and NDA if it comes together. One is obviously the NDA so far has not been able to target the youngsters, right? Annamalai perhaps was the only person that was actually the spearhead for attracting youngsters, but that too at a very small level. And secondly, the NDA right now doesn't have a youth space, right? Vijay can bring that. Second is in the southern states, where the NDA is like a little weak. We have to see how AMMK performs there. Vijay has a large presence. So there's both demographic and geographic additions that TV can bring to the NDA. But I don't know whether leaders think of alliances that way. Like, for example, Vijay will still believe that he can become chief minister on his own. EPS will think that he can.
That's the problem. That's the problem. The ego clash, I think. Who will blink first? Because I don't think both of them, I don't think Vijay will accept being the deputy chief minister. I think that's where the cookie is not crumbling, as it were, you know, Bhanuchandra. What do you think quickly? Then I go to Satyan.
So I think it's about longevity, and that's where I think TVK should think about very clearly about its strengths and weaknesses. Because, if it says that, okay, I'm going to be ideologically standing with what I'm saying, right, that it needs to play the long game. And for that, he needs a ground off, like what Pawan Kalyan did, right? It takes 10 years. But the last few months has shown us that there's no ground game for TVK. So
Yeah.
that's where the dilemma is.
Right. Satyan, let me end this with you. Satyan, you know, your leader said very clearly that there is no talk. Others are saying, Nayanar Nagendran, your alliance partner, said, well, I don't know what you're talking about. But do you think that, you know, this is now, will you say it on my show that it is curtain so far as this alliance is concerned? Or you're saying, never say never, because Banu made a very good point. 30th is the date and we still have some time. Kovai Satyan.
Give it to my friend Banu. One day is a long day in politics. You can't negate the fact that when TVK and Mr. Vijay came into the public life, entire Tamil Nadu, the public opinion was that if TVK joins with AIADMK, the 2011 history will be repeated, wherein TVK, Mr. Vijay will sit in the role as an opposition
Sure.
leader. But due course of time, whatever action that TVK took and whatever decisions they took has not favored their own growth. So which means that they started to drift away a long time back. And whenever there were opportunities, there were options available for them, they didn't explore much because of their lack of political experience, lack of political acumen and knowledge. Now the ships have sailed too far. I wouldn't say that the ship has reached their destinations. At all the same time, since the ships have sailed too far, it is not right to call saying that there has to be alliance, there are talks are going on, happen. The best of my knowledge, I would vote for my statement that we have not reached out to them and there are no such talks. And that's final and binding upon AIADMK.